Right, we are rolling. So hello, my name's Kyle. I'm the taxidermist for Standstill Taxidermy. I've decided that I want to make a YouTube channel, mainly upon sort of like requests and things like that I'm getting over Facebook of people wanting to see sort of like what I do, how I do it, and all those sorts of bits and bobs. I just want to sort of point this out that it isn't a tutorial at any point. It's just sort of me skinning, showing maybe the steps in between, but feel free to watch and pick up anything that you might be struggling with, or if you do have any questions or anything inside the future, I'll happily answer those inside the comments at the end of the video. I am skinning what is a very dirty white pheasant, which I'll get that blood out later. And we're firstly going to want to start by finding that breastbone, because we're going to make a parting along that breastbone. Stretch out the bird, make sure everything's nice and loose. That's got a nice broken leg, that'll be fun. Broken legs are always fun. And then yeah, what we want to do is we just want to part those feathers just along that breastbone, and then just work our way down. Yeah, try and keep it as straight as possible. I feel like I'm doing a cooking channel. Right. So I don't tend to speak much as a person anyway. So this is a new and exciting challenge. You could probably hear some giggling back there. That is my other half, laughing at the fact that I now have a reason to talk to myself. There we go. God, that is one messy bird. There we go. Like I said, not a tutorial. There's quite a few taxidermists out there, and whether they're masters in it or if they're just starting out, you'll find that each one will develop their own techniques with whatever they find comfortable with. And that's basically what you really want to focus on, is just doing whatever it is that you feel comfortable with. You could ask a master on how he or she mounts, and they'll tell you that maybe they use wood or something like that when they're doing taxidermy. If that's not for you, then don't do it. I found there was lots of things that I didn't, tips and bits of advice which I picked up along the way, or scouring like videos, and I just tried them and it just didn't feel like I liked it. And if you don't enjoy something, you're not going to put quite as much effort into it. So you want to try and make sure that you enjoy as much of the process as possible. Then you're going to do your very best. Just find where those joints are. It tends to be between, like, there's always like a layer of fat just over the knee, just there. And that's generally, if you cut along that line, you'll generally find sort of like the cartilage that holds the two bones together. So obviously if you make that cut, you won't be able to worry about doing any actual cutting or anything like that. And it means that you get a nice cleaner bone, and it's also easier to like remove the flesh off that bone. Because preferably, if we can, we want to keep that bone. go. All nice and loose. So I'll have to see. Checking on my dog. It was heard that I've said the word dog. You thought, oh, it's me. You're just talking about me. It must mean he wants to pet me. No,
Even though we've seen the meat.
That could be the case, yeah.
Do you want a cup of tea?
Ooh, yes.
Right, I'll make you a cup of
Never say no to an offer of tea.
tea. Alright, I'll make you a cup.
Just take it slow. I noticed I don't use gloves. Many people will warn me about bacteria and diseases and things like that, because obviously it's a raw bird and all this sorts of stuff, which is fully understandable. If you're a bit of a health freak or anything like that, and the idea of touching like a raw dead bird creeps you out, wear gloves. As long as you're not going to be preparing food directly after this or eating it raw or anything like that, you'll be fine. I mean, I've worked on badgers, rats even, things like that, without wearing gloves, and I'm yet to fall seriously ill. Yet to.
Yeah.
Yet to.
That was positive.
Yet to fall seriously ill.
Yay.
You never know, it might happen.
I'm loving the positivity.
Well, hey. I like to live life on the edge. Now you're going to want to bring this down all the way to the joint, just in case you can't see that on there, which you probably can't, my camera's terrible. Take it nice and slow. You don't win a marathon without jogging the first few laps. It's not even close to how that saying goes.
I know it's not. I just thought I'd keep quiet and let you think that's what you got it right.
Right now. Well, I've decided that I'm going to make it that way.
Oh, you got me on camera. Richard.
Sneaking about like, I'm not here. The tea will just magically appear.
Damn.
That voice is of a ghost.
Wouldn't mind being on camera if I looked a little bit better, to be fair.
We're going to have another one of those conversations.
Shut up. Right, your tears?
Tears. My tears.
It is there.
We've piled all my tears.
Shut up.
Thank you.
It's alright, darling. Anything else you need?
No, do not believe so. Unless you got like a hedgehog or something hidden somewhere.
No.
No? Okay, cool.
Unfortunately not.
Right, there we go. There's our joint. Boop, boop. Legit the sound pheasants make.
That noise wasn't very necessary, let's be honest.
Boop, boop.
No, not boop boop.
Boop, boop. Boop, 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 boop.
You are so weird. At least if it's on camera, I've got proof how weird you are now.
You do see what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. I'd give him some meat then.
What?
I was about to give him some meat then. That's why I keep him around when I'm skinning.
Go back to Dad. Go back. Stay.
What are you doing, Zeus? Hi. There we go, just up across that tendon there. close to the bone as you can. There we are. And then same on the other side, except the tendons are just a little bit thinner. Now you've probably noticed I'm not using borax. Now I do have my reasons for that. Because I don't really like to waste anything. Any specimens which basically are edible, I'll either eat myself or I'll give it to Zeus. Now, I'm not a scientist or anything along those lines, so I don't know whether or not borax has any issues in terms of, like, dogs. And because of that, I don't use borax when I'm skinning. Because of I'm about to feed him this bits. There you go. Scrape that off the bone. I'll apply borax once I get everything down to basically skin. Just before it's about to be defatted, because that way I'm still getting borax into those areas that might need it. You do like that bit of flesh here and stuff like that might need drying out a bit. Now there's a trick to this without shattering your bone, and it's a trick that doesn't always work for me. But that wasn't too shabby. There we go. One leg. Here we go. Up, up, up. There we go. And that one. Good boy. Right, down. Good boy. Good job, yeah? Thank you. My little cleanup crew. For future reference, you may want to take a measurement of that leg meat. So just when you wrap it around the bone, you've got a direct sort of like, well, so you've got a measurement. But I don't really measure each individual pheasant anymore, just because I've got measurements from previous pheasants. So I can work off of one of those without too much fuss. Next leg. That is hot. That tea is incredibly hot. I've burnt my mouth. There we go. This is the broken leg, which is also shattered up by the knee. Ah, pellet. Shotgun pellet. Now I have a thing, I collect these. I've got little vials full of little shotgun pellets. Why? I have no idea. I have no real purpose for them. They just interest me. Maybe I'll smelt them down one day and see how much like I've managed to pull out of dead animals. Make jewellery out of it. There you go. Make myself a badge out of. Ooh, kick me dog. Sorry about that. Yeah, just make myself like a badge or something out of salvage pellets. Ah, see. Got a nice lovely break there. which would be fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go along that break instead, about here, rather than cutting out the joint. Use my thumbnail, one of the best things about not having gloves on is I can get all that meat underneath my fingernails. No, I can, I don't have to use the extremely sharp knife to pull some bits of skin, which means I've got less risks in cutting it. Really handy on mammals, especially mammals with small feet or paws, however you want to see it. Honey, could you do me a favour? My phone's just come up with a 15% battery warning.
I think I work with that.
I shall say it again, but only in German. No, my phone's just come up with a 15% battery warning.
Yeah.
If you can figure out a way of plugging my phone in, because it's currently stood up on the end of which has the plug goes in.
It's a pretty big ask, but I'll try.
It's plugged into this extension lead down the back of the freezer.
Where?
Just there.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So literally the plug's just under there.
Under there?
Yeah. You know what it's stood on?
Do you want to lay it on its side then?
What you might be able to do is you might be able to pick it up, put it inside that part.
The borax pot.
So yeah. Oh, it's almost empty. Borax isn't going to hurt a machine.
It goes on your face?
Again.
You're not a machine.
No, what's it called? Like,
I know what to do.
or just get 2 bits of wood, lift it up so you've got a better plug socket available. It's up to you. Just don't show the camera. Or the kitchen, sorry, or the camera.
Is that okay?
No.
Is it not?
No.
It's because you're going hungry. It's just your face?
There we go.
Is that alright?
That'll do. That will do.
See?
I mean, it is basically just a tester video.
Yeah, no, but up here for thinking.
Yeah.
I like clever.
Very much so.
Sarcasm.
It's not sarcasm. Wishful thinking. There we go. There we go, there's our break. Now we're going to have to rebuild that bone because it's broken halfway, which isn't the end of the world. We'll just use a piece of wire and wrap it to build basically where the bone should be, using this little bit of bone here as a guide. You want some more meat, Zeus? That looks as yeah. boy. There you go. Good job. Okay, Dan. Good boy. Pull that leg back through. Just be careful not to trap any feathers. Ooh, heard that bone crunch. There we go. Alright, move my teeth for this bit. Drop the bird. That always helps, by the way. That is one of the steps. You should always do that, drop the bird. Right, so I don't know what happened there. The video just decided to stop recording. Obviously, trying to get it on charge and to balance it in that pot so it was still upright didn't work, so I put it on its side. Just removing the ends of those. Now, if I'm being totally honest, usually when I do taxidermy, I'm listening to music and I'm singing away at the top of my lungs with no shame whatsoever. Just enjoying what I'm doing. One of the reasons I decided that this is what I wanted to do as a career. And then I'm gonna Thank you. Then I'm just gonna cut across there and get you out. That's a bit of the tailbone. And then I'll just run the wire wheel over that little bit there, just clean that up when I do the actual defatting stage. Next, the wings. Very similar to sort of like the legs in the sense where you cut it around sort of like the joint and then get back to it later. Knocking your food bowls loose isn't going to make me feed you anymore today, you do know that, right? Because you'll get fat. You'll get fat. You will. I know you will. There you go. Give you that though, how's that? Yeah? Well, not my most favourite bit. Ooh. Elbow the fridge. That was fun. Just keep having to look up just to make sure it's still recording. Yeah, I've wanted to make like YouTube channels for quite some time. I just think it's nice for people to be able to see sort of like what goes into what is almost a controversial art form now. Like, you always have to be careful sort of where you're posting your work. Like, it's almost like you get basically cornered to almost like the black market or the black web, where it's like you're on specialised groups and things like that, and you have to be careful of where you're posting and stuff, and it has to be either with like your peers or people who are similar. Like, I've had when I've posted into the wrong places, like I'm based in Sheffield, and I posted in a local arts forum just a picture of a rabbit that I had worked on, sculpted head, everything like that, because of, I don't know if you're well aware, you might not be, but if you were to find up like my Facebook page or anything like that, you will find that I basically make all my stuff myself. So I don't buy any pre-made forms, I don't buy any bases or anything like that. I like to try and make it so everything is basically done by me. Yeah, everything is done by me. Just make sure that everything's got its own sort of unique personal touch. You know, I've calmed the forms, I've done everything like that. Nothing pre-made, nothing which you can just buy and, you know, just stick in. I'm doing everything myself, so you know that the work's gone into it. Which I really like to think just gives it sort of more of a personal feel when doing a mount. You know? Yes, it'd be quicker. I've sometimes thought how much I regret my decision about doing it all myself. But at the same time, right, so I did it again, and I figured out why that one time it was. I'd run out of storage on my phone. Turns out I have a lot of images on there that I need to transfer over to the computer. Yeah, but as I was saying, it's obviously like I make everything myself, blah blah blah. I just like to know that when I sort of like look at a piece that I've finished, that I've done everything that I can possibly do it. But as I was saying beforehand, I posted on a Sheffield forum artist page, because obviously this is classed as like a wildlife art, and you know, maybe there'll be somebody on there that was interested or did it as well. And instead what I got was a lot of people. I posted a picture of a rabbit that I'd done. A lot of people just jumped in on the fact that they saw this cute little bunny, asking me like how I'd obtained it, how they think it was sick and all this sorts of stuff. And it's like, yeah. But it was kind of funny, because she tried telling me that I should stick to just doing taxidermy pieces for museums, completely forgetting the fact that, you know, museums don't get much choice in terms of how the specimen they received was received by the taxidermist. I mean, I know they can ask, and obviously a taxidermist should obviously keep a record of that, but whether or not they do ask, I mean, personally, I've never known a museum to ask. There we go, just doing the eye. Never known a museum to actually ask how the specimen was obtained to the taxidermist, only that it was legal. And that's basically all they care about. And then she decided to try telling me that because she's a rabbit keeper for 30 years or something like that, She knows that rabbits are highly intelligent and that apparently they can regulate their own breeding numbers. That was interesting to me. Of which then she did admit that she keeps her males and her females separate. So they don't regulate themselves, you regulate them for them. But yeah, it was an interesting sort of topic. It was like talking to a brick wall, as you do with these sorts of things. People get a certain idea in their mind and they tend to just stick to it. There's no other option. So yeah, taxidermy's always been one of those sort of things where you have to be very careful in sort of like where you post and stuff like that, and you often kind of feel as if like you might be secluded just to certain areas, like on Facebook and things like that, which really does suck, because with how much time and effort and things that a lot of taxidermists put in, it would be nice if it was more sort of like openly appreciated, and if it was kind of brought more back to sort of like the streets of the UK, seeing as I'm UK based. I mean, it's quite shocking to the fact that when you tell somebody that you're a taxidermist, especially the younger generation, obviously I'm not old, but people my age, they'll say what is a taxidermist and they don't know. And that is something that's quite shocking, because of, without passing it on, without getting out there, showing what it is that we do, maybe telling people why we do it, then that's how sort of like an art form can die off. The thing is, I enjoy it so much, that's definitely not something I want to happen. Righty-o. Should have given myself enough leeway now just to pull that neck out a bit. There we go, just pull that down a little bit. Can I get my finger in there? Yeah. I wasn't saying you had to use this. So you've probably gathered that this video has been edited at all. Maybe by its lack of quality or anything along those lines. But I think the most I'm going to try and do is, because it's broken down into 3 like separate videos, which it's decided it'll do for me, is I'll try and merge the 3 videos together so it doesn't mean finding 3 separate videos. I'm terrible for doing that, drifting off when I'm concentrating. Keep having to check the camera now because of, I can bet you he'll do it again. I can almost bet you. Come on. See, my finger's through there, so why will my scissors not go through? There we go. Severed the head. Bring that down. What you don't want to do is when you pull it through is it to get snagged and then tear your neck. Especially lengthways. Lengthways is a pain to fix. There we go. Now you're going to want this to make measurements off of.